Ever gotten a gift that seemed too perfect? A gift that left you feeling like you were on top of the world, only to find out later it was a trap? Imagine receiving something so thoughtful, so beautifully wrapped, that you couldn't help but believe it was a token of love, friendship, or loyalty. But what if that gift wasn't what it seemed? What if that gift was hiding something far more sinister? My name is Lucas Carter, and I live in Austin, Texas. I'm 28 years old. Most people would say I've had it all. Good job, a comfortable life, friends who genuinely care. But what they don't know is that I've spent the last few years burying the pain of a betrayal so deep, I forgot what it felt like to truly trust anyone. It all started on a regular Tuesday morning, when I found a package sitting on my doorstep. No return address, just a neat little box, wrapped in dark blue paper and tied with a black ribbon. I had no idea who it was from, and honestly, I didn't care. I wasn't exactly in the mood for gifts, but something about this one caught my attention. The ribbon, the careful packaging, it felt personal. And that alone was enough to make me pause, curiosity gnawing at the back of my mind. I stood there for a while, just staring at it. Was this a joke? A prank from one of my old friends? Or worse, was it another reminder of the betrayal that had left me questioning everyone around me? After everything I'd been through, who would send me a gift? Who could I trust? I picked it up and carried it inside. My hands were shaking slightly, but I wasn't sure if it was from excitement or fear. I placed it on the table, almost afraid to open it, but I knew I had to. Inside the box was an antique jewelry box, carefully crafted with intricate designs. The wood was dark, almost mahogany, polished to a high sheen. I ran my fingers over the carvings, an abstract swirl of delicate lines. It looked expensive, too expensive to be a gift from anyone I could remember. Then nestled inside was a rare necklace, a pendant, designed in the shape of a phoenix rising from the ashes. It was gorgeous, shimmering with a mix of gold and red stones, almost glowing as the light hit it. I had to admit, it was beautiful, and it stirred something deep inside me, something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. But I couldn't ignore the knot in my stomach. A voice in my head screamed that something wasn't right. The necklace was familiar. I had seen it before, but I couldn't place where. That's when it hit me. Eliza. My heart skipped a beat. Eliza, the one person I thought I could trust with everything. The woman who tore my world apart and left me drowning in the ruins of her lies. I hadn't heard from her in months. Not a word, not a message, just the echo of her betrayal, still ringing in my ears. Why would Eliza send me this? I tried to push it aside, tell myself I was overthinking things, but the connection was too strong. The intricate designs on the box, the necklace, it all pointed to her family, a family full of secrets and connections I'd never fully understood. The memories came flooding back, of late-night conversations filled with promises, of trust shared in the dim light of a cafe, of whispers about her family's shady dealings. Was this a message? A way to draw me back in? Or was it just another trick? Another way to pull me into her web of lies? I felt the anger rise within me. How dare she? How dare they use something so beautiful to manipulate my emotions, to drag me back into their world of deceit? I stared at the box, The necklace, now a symbol of everything that had been stolen from me. Trust, love, the pieces of myself that I had left behind, never to be whole again. The gift, this perfect, beautiful thing, was nothing more than a Trojan horse. A weapon wrapped in silk, a trap disguised as kindness. I knew then I had to face this head-on. Whatever game they were playing, I wouldn't be the fool again. The gift was their mistake, and I was going to make sure they would regret it. But first, I had to find out who sent this, and why they thought I would fall for it. As I sat there, the silence of my apartment swallowing me whole, I made a decision. I wasn't just going to solve the mystery. I was going to turn the tables. And when I was done, they would know exactly what it meant to betray me. After all, revenge is never just about the action. It's about the sweet satisfaction of watching those who wronged you realize that their lies can never stay hidden forever. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was missing something crucial. I stared at the necklace, its edges catching the light as if mocking me. There was no way this was just a gift. I needed answers. And so, I reached out to the only person I trusted, someone who had been by my side long before Eliza's betrayal. Kira. We met at a quiet cafe on the corner of 6th Street, a place where we'd spent hours discussing everything from work to our past relationships. Kira was the one person I knew wouldn't sugarcoat things. When it came to Eliza, Kira had always been skeptical. She'd warned me about her from the start, but I'd been too blinded by love to listen. Sitting across from her now, I could barely look her in the eye as I slid the box across the table. I wanted to keep the conversation light, but I could see Kira's gaze narrowing as she examined the gift. "What's going on, Lucas?" she asked, her voice laced with concern. "You don't look like someone who's received a thoughtful gift." "I don't think it's what it seems," I replied, trying to steady my shaking hands. "It feels like a message." Kira raised an eyebrow. She leaned in, her voice lowering, as if we were sharing a secret. "A message? From who?" "Eliza," I muttered, my chest tightening at the thought of her name. Kira's expression softened, but there was a hint of something darker in her eyes. "You know, I've always warned you about her," she began, her tone shifting from concern to something else, something I couldn't quite place. "Her family, they're full of secrets, Lucas. The things they've been involved in, you've never really understood it, have you? The connections they have." Her words hung in the air, sinking deep into my thoughts. I had always brushed aside her warnings, thinking they were just the fears of a friend who didn't want me to get hurt. But now, with the gift in front of me, I couldn't ignore the feeling that something far more sinister was at play. "Her family," I repeated, my voice barely above a whisper. "What are you talking about?" Kira leaned back, her eyes searching the room before settling on me. "Eliza's family has ties to shady dealings, stuff that goes beyond what you know. I've heard rumors, Lucas. Things I didn't want to believe, but now..." She paused, her gaze flickering to the box. "Now I think it's all connected. This gift, this necklace, it's part of something bigger, something they've been planning for a long time." My pulse quickened. The realization began to dawn on me like a fog lifting from my mind. This wasn't just a gift. It was a message, a signal from Eliza or someone in her family, trying to draw me back into their web. The unease, settled into a cold, hard certainty. Kira was right. I had been too blind to see it. Eliza's family had always operated in the shadows, and I had been nothing but a pawn in their game. My mind raced as I began to connect the dots. This necklace, this beautiful, expensive, seemingly innocent token of affection, wasn't a gift. It was a clue, and as much as I hated to admit it, Eliza's family had orchestrated the entire thing. I excused myself from the table, unable to sit still any longer. My phone buzzed with messages, but I ignored them. I needed to get to the bottom of this. I had to know who had sent it and why. I spent the next few hours tracking down information, reaching out to contacts, and digging deeper into Eliza's past. It wasn't until I came across an old article from a decade ago that I finally uncovered the truth. The jewelry in the box was stolen from an infamous heist that had shocked the city years ago. The necklace, crafted from rare stones, had been a part of a stolen collection that was never recovered. And the man behind the heist, Eliza's father, the revelation hit me like a punch to the gut. I had known about the family's questionable past, but this was something else. I had never suspected Eliza's involvement, but there it was, right in front of me. She wasn't just a victim of her family's actions. She was complicit. Eliza had lied to me, fed me stories about how she had no choice, how she was trapped in a family of criminals. But now I saw the truth. She had been feeding me lies all along. The love we shared was just a mask, a carefully constructed illusion to keep me in the dark. I sat in the dim light of my apartment, staring at the necklace in my hand, my mind racing. How could I have been so blind? I had trusted her with everything. My heart, my future, my hope. And in return, she had played me like a fool. Every moment I had spent with her, every whisper of love, every promise, it had all been a lie. The anger was overwhelming, but there was something else, too. Betrayal. It crushed me. The nostalgia I had felt when I first saw the necklace wasn't a reminder of love. It was a reminder of the person I had become because of Eliza. A man betrayed, broken, and far too trusting for his own good. But there was still one more thing I had to learn. One more piece of the puzzle that Kira had been hinting at. "Lucas, there's something else I need to tell you." Kira's voice came through on the phone, pulling me from my thoughts. "I've been investigating Eliza's family for months now. I've found something I never thought I'd uncover." My heart skipped a beat. I wasn't sure if I was ready to hear it, but I had no choice. I needed to know everything. Kira paused for a moment, as if weighing her words. Then, with a voice full of tension, she said, "I know Eliza's family was planning something all along. They've been setting you up, Lucas. And I've got the proof." The pieces were falling into place. But what came next would change everything. The air was thick with tension as I stood at the gates of Eliza's family estate, my heart pounding in my chest. The mansion loomed ahead, an imposing reminder of everything I had tried to forget. I had no idea what I would find inside, but I knew one thing for certain. This was the moment of reckoning. The answers I had been chasing were about to come to light. I barely knocked before the door was opened by Eliza herself. She stood there, looking just as she had when I last saw her. Beautiful, distant, but now there was something different. A hardness in her eyes, a guarded expression. She was waiting for me to say something, but there was nothing I could say. Not yet. I had waited too long for this moment. "You've been expecting me, haven't you?" I said, my voice colder than I intended. Her eyes flickered briefly with guilt, but she stepped aside, gesturing for me to come in. I didn't move. "I have questions, Eliza." I began about the gift. "Why did you send it? What's the meaning behind it? And what role did you play in the betrayal?" Her face faltered for a moment of hesitation that confirmed everything I had suspected. She had known what she was doing. She had known the weight of her actions. Finally, she spoke, her voice low. "The gift was a trap," she admitted, her words hanging heavily in the air. "I wanted you to come back into my life, Lucas. I needed you to be vulnerable, needed to get you close again. I'm sorry for that. I never meant to hurt you, but I had no choice." She looked down, her voice barely a whisper. "I never truly loved you. I cared for you, yes, but I was forced to play this role. It was my family. They wouldn't let me walk away." Her words were a punch to the gut, but the hurt was something I had learned to endure. What stung the most was the truth. Her confession had been nothing more than a mask. She had been playing me all along. A part of me, the part that still wanted to believe in the woman I once loved, refused to accept it. But her words, they were the final nails in the coffin. "I don't believe you, Eliza," I said, stepping forward, anger bubbling to the surface. "This wasn't just about family pressure. You chose this. You chose to betray me." She opened her mouth to protest, but the words died in her throat. She knew it was too late for excuses. "I didn't have a choice, Lucas," she said, tears starting to well in her eyes. "I was trapped in their world. I didn't want this. I didn't want to hurt you. But it was too little, too late." Her tears couldn't undo the years of pain she had caused, the trust she had shattered. I had come here for answers, and I had gotten them. But not the way I expected. The betrayal wasn't just hers. I turned, my mind spinning with everything Eliza had confessed, when she stopped me. "There's more you need to know," she said, her voice trembling. My pulse quickened. "What now? What else could there possibly be?" "Eliza," I said, "you've told me everything. It's over." "No, Lucas," she whispered. "It's not over. You think you know who's behind all this, but you don't. You don't know the real mastermind." My heart skipped. "What are you talking about?" "Eliza," I trailed off. "Who else is involved? I need to know." With a deep breath, Eliza locked eyes with me. "It wasn't just me. You've been manipulated from the start. Kira, she's been working with my family all along." I froze. Kira, the one person I trusted most in the world, the woman who had been there when I needed someone to lean on. The woman who had listened to me vent about Eliza, about the pain of betrayal. How could she be involved? "Kira? No, that's impossible," I said, shaking my head, disbelieving. But Eliza's words were a slap of cold reality. "She was never on your side, Lucas. She's been using you. She manipulated your emotions to further her own plans. She was in on it from the beginning." The weight of her words hit me like a tidal wave. All this time, Kira had been pretending to be my confidant, my ally. But in reality, she had been working with Eliza's family, orchestrating my downfall, feeding me lies to keep me in the dark. My anger was blinding now, but it wasn't just anger, it was clarity. Everything made sense now, in the most gut-wrenching way possible. Kira had been pulling the strings, turning my trust into a weapon against me. And Eliza, caught in the middle of her family's machinations, had been a pawn in her own right. But now I had the upper hand. I left the estate without another word. The game was over. It was time to turn the tables. I knew exactly what I needed to do. The heirloom box, once a symbol of love, of betrayal, would become a symbol of justice. I took it with me. Every ounce of my hatred, every ounce of my fury now turned into something more calculated. I would use everything I had learned against them. Kira and Eliza thought they had won, but they were wrong. I reached out to the authorities, using the necklace and the box as evidence. Every detail I uncovered, every lie Kira had spun, it all fell into place. Eliza and Kira would pay for their actions. Their downfall was swift and brutal. The web they'd carefully spun around me unraveled, leaving them exposed for everyone to see. Kira's lies were exposed, and Eliza's involvement was laid bare for all to judge. I watched from the sidelines, detached and cold, as they were caught in their own deception. The sweet taste of revenge lingered in my mouth, but it wasn't about the satisfaction of their punishment. It was about taking control of my own life again. The gift had been a trap, but I had turned it into my victory. The final chapter had been written, and I walked away with nothing but the knowledge that sometimes the best revenge is to outsmart those who think they've already won.